It finally happened. Ukraine has launched the Flamingo mega missiles for the first time. Russia was caught off guard. This super powerful weapon struck Crimea. The occupiers did not expect this. A helicopter, 6 boats, and a barracks were wiped out. And on top of that, fierce drones broke deep into Russia, minus. A critically important railway substation and a whole list of oil refineries were hit. A barrage of disasters. Epic videos have already gone viral online. Has the enemy really been brought to its knees after this? All this and more coming up. Watch until the end. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Darina, bringing you the latest updates. This is a real breakthrough. For the first time, the Ukrainian armed forces launched a Ukrainian mega weapon at the enemy and literally wiped out the occupiers in Crimea. Flaming missiles broke through. The first footage.
A Mi-8 helicopter was destroyed, 6 boats were damaged, a barracks was attacked, and a serviceman was killed.
Moreover, it has become known that a border base of the FSB near Armyansk was also hit. The precise strike on the occupiers caused a real stir among the Russians. At first, Z-Patriots started claiming that this was the work of Neptune cruise missiles. However, sources in military circles have confirmed otherwise. According to Militarny, the legendary Flamingos broke into the temporarily occupied territory of Ukraine. Let us recall that the warhead of this missile weighs over 1,000 kilograms and its range exceeds 3,000 kilometers. Currently, Ukraine produces 1 missile per day, although there are plans to increase production. Meanwhile, panic is spreading in the Kremlin, and in the cities, people are waking up to the rumble that reminds them the war ignited by Moscow is coming home. It was truly hot in the Russian city of Kropotkin, in the Krasnodar region. Panic, like the sounds of explosions, is at full volume.
The armed forces of Ukraine continue to attack the Krasnodar region with drones. Local residents told SHOT that a total of 10 to 15 explosions could be heard.
Local public pages immediately reported a large-scale fire and confirmed a hit on a significant target. The target was a critically important electrical substation that powers the railway.
The facility provided power to the regional energy system and the key railway communications of the Krasnodar region.
Meanwhile, the authorities stubbornly tried to cover up the epic failure of their air defense and loudly insisted that the situation was under control, claiming that only debris had fallen.
According to preliminary information, there are no casualties. Emergency and special services are working at the scene.
However, the real situation in Russia right now is quite different. The fire instantly engulfed a vast area. Russians began to loudly complain that after the drone attack, they simply have nothing left, nothing to breathe.
On Zaliznichna Street, we're suffocating from the smoke, people write in local chats. There's nothing to breathe on Shevchenko Street either, others confirm. At first there wasn't much smoke and the smell wasn't too strong, but now I go outside holding a wet cloth over my nose, and even then I can't walk around the yards for long because I start to feel nauseous, say the residents of Kropotkin.
And on top of that, it's pitch dark, while at the same time, another settlement, Ilsky, is under attack.
The Ilsky oil refinery is located in the village, which has already been attacked multiple times by Ukrainian drones.
At the same time, the Russian Ministry of Defense stated that drones attacked 5 more regions. 50 drones stirred things up in Russia. According to air defense reports, 50 Ukrainian fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles were destroyed or intercepted. However, that's not all. Hot news from Russia. Our forces recently delivered devastating strikes on two Russian oil refineries, one in Krasnodar and another in Syzran.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
The defense forces are actively taking decisive action, and in addition to their ongoing efforts, there was also a spectacular fireworks show that illuminated the night sky in the Tula region.
Tula region, the city of Alexin. A strike hit the industrial zone. The results are being clarified. Official Tula confirms the strike. Well, okay.
Unexpected, I just am. I was just stepping out. Well, while the Russians are catching their breath after the previous devastating strikes, the armed forces of Ukraine are preparing something big. A new Ukrainian FP-1 drone is going out on the hunt. A true scourge from the sky for the occupiers. What it can do and which high-value targets it has in its sights, more on that in just a moment.
To catch up and surpass, Ukraine has reached a production pace of its own strike drones comparable to that of Russia. First and foremost, we're talking about the latest long-range UAV, the FP-1. According to the Associated Press, Ukraine has managed to scale up its production capacity and is now assembling about 100 drones per day. At the same time, the drone is significantly cheaper than the Shahed. One FP-1 costs 50 hryvnias.
The overall technical specifications are not very different from those of the Shaheds. Of course, it has a different design, but its function is the same, even though it can fly a bit farther and has a slightly higher payload capacity. And it is somewhat more advanced in terms of accurately hitting a specific target. There has never been a case where the FP-1 accidentally hits civilian targets. That's why it's very convenient for planning missions, making them safe and highly accurate. And it's also 5 times cheaper than a Shahed, which is very useful for our country, which isn't that wealthy.
The secret is simple, experts explain. Ukraine does not have uninterrupted supplies of engines from Iran and China. We don't have the same production capacities as Russia, and we don't have as much money either. Accordingly, our engineers have simplified everything as much as possible. With just one condition, the drone absolutely must reach and hit its intended target.
The structural frame of the FP-1 drone is made of plywood. These components are milled on a laser machine. This is about a very cheap and mass-produced solution. The skin is then attached to this frame featuring joints with slots and fasteners. For a kamikaze drone, which is meant to make a single flight in its lifetime, which must end with it simply crashing into the target and exploding, this is not just sufficient.
At the same time, despite its outward simplicity, the FP-1's internal components are quite advanced. The drone is equipped with a whole array of sensors and modules that help it navigate through enemy territory, electronic warfare actions, target recognition, and approaching the target along the most effective trajectory.
Ukraine presented a range of challenges that enabled the creation of unmanned systems. These systems meet the requirements of modern missiles. They are accurate in hitting their targets, can bypass electronic warfare systems, and are capable of operating even without satellite navigation aids. So here, in fact, we're talking about the technological challenges we've overcome and the solutions we've proposed that allow us to operate deep inside enemy territory, specifically across the territory of the Russian Federation.
By deep, we mean up to about 1,600 kilometers. At the same time, the FP-1 can carry a rather powerful warhead, about 60 kilograms, over that distance. There is also the possibility to increase the amount of explosives to 120 kilograms by partially reducing the range.
That's right. The latest drone can easily strike the Russian capital, even circling it twice within its range. Moreover, a range of 1,600 kilometers makes it possible for Ukrainian defense forces to reach distant targets. Such remote regions of Russia as Udmurtia, Tatarstan, Samara Oblast, Orenburg, Vologda, Kostroma, Perm Krai, Bashkortostan, Yekaterinburg, and even Murmansk Oblast, you don't have enough fingers to count them all. So we understand that Putin tried to move his drone and missile factories further from the border, but that didn't save him.
At the same time, as noted in the Financial Times article, the FPO-DNC is far from the only Ukrainian strike drone that hits targets in Russia every night. Combined with the number of other UAVs produced, the total is quite impressive.
What will the next strikes deep inside Russia look like? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button under the video, and stay up to date with the main news. There are almost 460,000 of us subscribed. More to come. See you soon.